They were ours. The drones were ours.
I do have news directly from the President of the United States that was just shared with me in the Oval Office. From President Trump directly, an update on the New Jersey drones. After research and study, the drones that were flying over New Jersey in large numbers were authorized to be flown by the FAA for research and various other reasons. Many of these drones were also hobbyists, recreational, and private individuals that enjoy flying drones. In time, it got worse due to curiosity. This was not the enemy. A statement from the President of the United States.
That was Karoline Leavitt, the brand new White House press secretary for Donald Trump's second administration. BT dubs, she totally killed it. But she came out and she started with that announcement from Donald Trump, who promised us that he would find out what the drones were. In fact, 8 days ago, on January 20th, his very first day in office, he asked Susie Wiles live on television in response to a question from Fox News' Peter Doocy to do just that. And apparently, she did just that.
I would like to find out what it is and tell the people.
And can you commit to some kind of...
In fact, I'd like to do that. Could we find out what that was, Susie? Okay? Yeah, why don't we find out immediately? I mean, I can't imagine it's an enemy, or there would have been, people would have gotten blown up all over. Maybe they were testing things. I don't know why they wouldn't have said what it was. They had a lot of them flying over Bedminster, which is interesting. Right?
That was very interesting. There were a lot of them flying over all over the place in New Jersey and Delaware and New York. Pretty soon they were seen all over the country. And as the situation got worse, the Biden administration got more and more tight-lipped. In fact, Donald Trump hosted a bunch of governors during his transition. He hosted a bunch of Republican governors at Mar-a-Lago, and they all started reporting mysterious drone sightings in their states. And Donald Trump said, look, the administration won't tell us anything.
I'm going to give you a report on drones about 1 day into the administration, because I think it's ridiculous that they're not telling you about what's going on with the drones. And it's not only with me. Glenn was telling me today that in Virginia they have drones all over the place too, and nobody's reporting it. I don't know why they're not. Do you want to say something about that?
Just one quick comment, which is we are home to the largest naval base in the world in Quantico, and we house a lot of the SEAL teams and have a huge national security infrastructure. And now for 2 years running, we have had drone incursion over secure airspace, and we still don't know why. And I think that's absolutely unacceptable. And I think President Trump and the new leadership coming in, I think, will work diligently to understand who's behind this and what we do in order to stop the digital surveillance of all of our secure infrastructure.
Is it dangerous?
Well, I can tell you this. While we were dealing with a terrorist attack in New Orleans, we had drones being flown over our nuclear reactors in Louisiana. And we brought that attention to the FAA. We've been asking the FAA to give these states the ability to mitigate these drones. And it's sitting on some bureaucrat's desk. And that's real.
Nobody knows. They don't want to talk about it.
But they did know. These were all FAA authorized drones, at least according to Donald Trump. And Donald Trump's now wondering, why is it that the Biden administration let Americans panic and wonder what these things were? In fact, the Joe Biden administration, and John Kirby specifically, mentioned on several occasions that they didn't know what the drones were. In fact, at one point, he even suggested people weren't seeing drones. They were just seeing ghosts.
Using very sophisticated electronic detection technologies provided by federal authorities, we have not been able to, and neither have state or local law enforcement authorities, corroborate any of the reported visual sightings. To the contrary, upon review of available imagery, it appears that many of the reported sightings are actually manned aircraft that are being operated lawfully.
Okay, now that's weird because we had like 5,000 videos all over X, all over Instagram, all over TikTok of these drones just flying around. I mean, it was time-lapse videos coming from New Jersey and points north of here. Hundreds of these things crisscrossing the skies late at night, coming within a few hundred feet of people's homes and flying over, as we just heard, military establishments and golf courses and in Louisiana, apparently a nuclear reactor. So this was not a mass hysteria or some kind of massive public hallucination. there were actual drones flying there, and they refused to tell us why. And Fox News's Martha McCallum, she actually pressed John Kirby and said, do you know how insulting and do you know how condescending you guys actually sound when you tell us that we're not seeing what we're seeing?
Actually, a lot of people were unhappy with that comment that you made yesterday and felt like you were, telling people that they were nuts or that they didn't know what they were seeing with their own eyes.
No, not at all, Martha. That's the farthest thing that I would ever do. I was simply reiterating what the FBI and what the Department of Homeland Security have relayed to us about what they've been able to corroborate. And we haven't been able to corroborate everything. I said many of the corroborated sightings have turned out to be piloted aircraft. I didn't say all of them, and what I said was those are the ones we were able to corroborate. There's certainly ones that we have not been able to, and we don't know the answer to it. And I strongly recommend that for folks that are seeing these things and documenting them to share that as they can with Department of Homeland Security and the
I'll be honest with you. I'm so glad that guy's gone. I couldn't take another minute of him. The way he squirms and squiggles. No, you could tell he's lying, not just because his lips are moving, but because he's a horrible liar. And Martha McCallum pressed him on it and said, this is ridiculous. This is shocking.
Why doesn't the United States government know? It seems silly. I mean, it feels a lot like the Chinese spy balloon. It was like, oh, we don't know. It's not a problem. Then what we watched it go all the way across the country, and we kept hearing, we're not really sure where it came from until we saw it popped and, floated down over the ocean.
That's not quite how it went. We were very honest with the American people that we knew it was Chinese and we knew that where it was going to go. And we were pretty comfortable, given the analysis, that there wasn't going to be an intelligence threat by it. And we shot it down once it was over safe waters and wasn't going to hurt anybody. But back to this. Why don't we know? I wish I could tell you exactly why we don't have an answer for you here in the afternoon on the 13th of December. But I can tell you that we are working on it very, very hard to know, because we want to answer those questions the same as those folks in New Jersey want answers to them. And we are working on this very, very hard. We are now applying. There was an interagency conversation this morning about this topic where we have now decided to employ some additional technology to New Jersey and some additional personnel to try to get a better sense of what these things are. And as I said yesterday, Martha, as soon as we know, we're going to.
No, I hear you. This is shocking. I got to tell you, this is shocking.
Yeah, and a lot of people were shocked that back then on December 13th, they had to have an interagency meeting. Was one of those agencies they met with the FAA? Because according to Karoline Leavitt and according to President Donald Trump, these were all FAA authorized drones. At least that's what he said in his statement. And I tend to believe Donald Trump more than I tend to believe Joe Biden or anyone that worked for that guy. But there was one quizzical thing that Karoline Leavitt said in her statement from President Trump regarding these drones.
The drones that were flying over New Jersey in large numbers were authorized to be flown by the FAA for research and various other reasons.
What were the various other reasons? Was one of them searching out nuclear material and potentially devastating nuclear bombs that may have gone missing in the northeastern United States?
Many of these drones were also hobbyists, recreational, and private individuals that enjoy flying drones. In time, it got worse due to curiosity.
And I understand how it got worse, because when there's drones in the sky, people that have drones are like, I'm going to go drone hunting. So they fly their drone up into the sky, and then all of a sudden there's more drones in the sky and people freak out. It's kind of like when somebody sends an email to the entire company and then somebody goes, hey, you just sent that email to the entire company, but then they send it to the entire company. And then someone else is like, guys, stop. You're sending email to the entire company, but then they send it to you know how it goes.
This was not the enemy.
I would respectfully disagree, because it was Joe Biden's administration who authorized these drones to fly around and kept it all quiet. And I don't know about you, but I consider Joe Biden and his administration the enemy. If you enjoyed even a single second of what you just watched, do me a favor, do yourself a favor, hit like, subscribe, set those notifications, because we're going to be bringing you content like this all the time. Like, subscribe, set those notifications. Do it now.